The perfect Easter anytime side dish with roasted asparagus, some prosciutto, hard-boiled eggs, quick vinaigrette, fresh herbs. Super simple. It's great for a weeknight side, but it's my favorite for a special occasion side, or maybe your favorite lunch. Let's make it. Asparagus is one of my favorite things to first come in the garden in the spring. And no matter what, when it starts coming in the season, you can get it easily in a grocery store. And what I love about it is it has a really good flavor that is simple to do something with. And I like roasting it because it adds even more flavor with that roasted quality. Now, some people, when you're getting it in a grocery store, it's usually sat, it's usually traveled, it's gonna start drying out on the end and be kind of tenuous, not fun to eat. Some people like to snap it. That's one way to do it. I always like to check where that bad, like if you really need to snap it that deep. And it's taking a little bit fresh. It is woody down there, so I know now I need to take about that same amount off of these. So I personally sometimes like to just cut it so it's a clean snap. But look how beautiful this is. Now, if you're not used to asparagus, I grew up with asparagus. We always had massive patches of asparagus. And honestly, probably because it was free, since it was a perennial and it grows every year, you don't have to plant it year to year. We found ways to use it. But one of the best things to do with it is to do as little to it as possible, which is why I've ended up usually roasting it. It keeps its fresh, crisp flavor, and I like to roast it to a tender, crisp consistency. And you can see here, now all these ends we just cut off, by the way, these would be great in a stock. So don't throw those away. You can use those, or if you have chickens, give them to chickens. So what we have is what we're gonna do is a little bit of olive oil. Now, this is what you'd need to do when you're roasting anything because it adds flavor. So drizzling that across and then making sure it's coated well is essential. You can then lay them out in somewhat of an even layer. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not too worried about, we're not gonna roast them for a long time to really brown them. So if they're slightly tighter than you would a vegetable, that's fine. Super essential, salt. Make sure to salt it. Now, you often hear kosher salt, and I even use kosher salt because it's become somewhat synonymous. The reason most people like kosher salt, it's a bigger grain, you can see that. It's a little bit easier to grab and control how much you're putting on. Table salt can be quite small. If you like sea salt, if you like other salts, that's fine. Do what you like, I don't mind at all. Fresh black pepper is gonna add that flavor too. Super simple. This alone, so many weeknights when I have asparagus coming out of the garden, this is what I'm doing and just eating it. To now dress up this final thing, we have some prosciutto. Smells delicious, is delicious. And you know what? I wouldn't say makes it better, but it's something nice to do with it. Roasting it, because just like we kind of do with bacon, it can get a little bit crispy in the oven, and I really like that. Now, if it tears, don't worry about it, because once it's crispy, it doesn't matter. And we're gonna lay this, look how easy this is. We are laying this right on top of this asparagus, because it's just going to roast and then we'll break it up. Now you can see it has sheets in between it. That's how prosciutto comes, because as you can see, it sticks together really bad. So don't let that scare you, but just put these pieces that you're gonna take apart right on top. And then you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put this right in the oven. We're gonna let it roast. While it's roasting, make a really quick vinaigrette. It's super simple. I think this might be your new favorite side dish. For a lot of roasted vegetables, I love a vinaigrette or a favorite dressing you could do. We're gonna do a really quick one here, starting with some shallot. Shallot, you'll always notice that's what I use in vinaigrette because it's always gonna be a little bit lighter, sweeter flavored, and it just works really well. Red onion can be used in place. I would actually probably use a scallion first, just because it's gonna have that same light flavor. So we're putting it right in a bowl. I like to start with a little bit of lemon zest. So this is spring. This is a bright dish. This is something we wanna have a pop of color. So a little bit of lemon zest goes a long way. Put it right in there. Isn't that beautiful? And it smells so good. And then we're gonna put the juice. So these are seedless lemons, and I'm gonna put it right in there. But look how beautiful that is, but also how good it smells. So this isn't necessarily a true vinaigrette. We're not putting any vinegar in it. We're using the lemon juice as the acid. For a salad, I often would cut it with some more vinegar of some type to get that acidity right. But for this, I just want it to be light, bright, and simple. Of course, Dijon. It's going to, yes, emulsify it slightly. It also balances those flavors to me. It's essential. I don't question it. And I think it also always needs a good amount of salt. That's what's going to help season them. We already season them somewhat, so we don't need to do too much, but you do need to season it. And then fresh black pepper again. We're going to put it right in there. And it finishes with oil. Olive oil. A good olive oil is going to taste good. Then you just need to whisk it up. And again, you can whisk this right before you want to serve it. You know, you can make this the day before. That'd be no problem at all. And just let it, if you want to put it in the fridge even, and then let it come to room temperature. But look at that. Super beautiful, super simple. So when this comes out, we're gonna put it all together and side dish ready to go. You can see in that same time that the asparagus roasts, so does that prosciutto, which I love. And it doesn't become fully, I don't like it like crumbly crispy. I like it to just be slightly crisped because I think it takes on more flavor even then too, which I really like. So I'm taking the prosciutto off just so I can place it on a platter better. You could serve it off the sheet pan, but this is for Easter, or if it's for a special occasion, why not? So I like to just arrange this asparagus first. And you can do it however works for you. I think platters in general, no matter what we're eating, they really elevate food and they make it look good. So white shows off green really well, and that's a nice way to start. And then it just kind of makes everything pop, you know? And what I like is it's easy to and accessible for people also, which I think is important to have accessible food, if that makes sense. It just looks nice, it presents it well, and I think it's appetizing. So all those things to me work together. See how hot this is? It's not too bad. I can touch it. I always will make myself burn if I have to, but that wasn't gonna burn me. So over here I have a few different things. I'm chopping up some hard-boiled eggs. They're a really nice complement to asparagus. On my website, another recipe I have is creamed asparagus on toast, which has hard-boiled eggs in it too. I use whatever fresh herbs I have on hand. Right now I have parsley and dill. I love tarragon on this too. That works so well, those flavors. But something fresh and green is just gonna be super nice and bright and go well with the vinaigrette, which I think is essential. I'm not going to cut up this prosciutto too much. I like some of the big pieces. I think that can look nice. So whatever you like, you can kind of cut it in. I like it. You can hear it's kind of crispy actually, which is good. I don't want it to be black and crispy. If anything, I just want it to have a little bit of texture, but look how simple that is. So now is the simple part of bringing it all together. I like to dress it first in a little bit of that vinaigrette we made and just make it simple. You don't have to really toss it because it's going to, as people take it, be in the bottom of that pan and really be tossed well. You can do as much as you want. And then you can put on whatever order of things you want. I'm gonna start with some of the egg, which I think is really nice, and just intermix it. I think for plating here on camera, I'm gonna kind of do it sparsely so you can still see all that asparagus and how beautiful it is. I wanna do some of that prosciutto yet, which you can see what I like. This is perfect for brunch. This is perfect for lunch. It kind of just depends what you can make this into a meal if it's like a weekday lunch too, which I think is really nice. And then some of those fresh herbs. Look at how beautiful, how simple that is. That's the point of good food. When you have in-season items like we do here, just use them as they are. Use these items to be kind of unreally touched as much as possible. So we roasted it lightly just to kind of make it crisp, tender. I like that better than steaming it. I know some people like to steam. I don't when it comes to asparagus. I like it to be roasted. And then you can just eat it. I want one with some of that good dressing on it. Okay, it's perfectly cooked. Crisp, tender to me is what's key here. Softened slightly, but still has that fresh crunch. That to me is what's gonna really bring it together. And what I love about it is it has that bright pop with that vinaigrette. You're gonna get the creaminess of that egg yolk. You're gonna get the heartiness of the protein in there too with the prosciutto that has just that nice kind of flavor from being roasted slightly. This all comes together for a perfect side dish, but like I said, make it a lunch for yourself. Take the leftovers for lunch, you're gonna love it. So what do I hope you do? As always, I hope you share this video so other people can see how easy this is to make. If I can do this, anybody can do it. Check in-season items, look at your farmer's market. This is coming in season in so many places. Enjoy that, share this around, check my website, wyseguide.com for this recipe and all my others. Happy Easter.